This video is intended to describe a light staff named Abundance. As can be seen here, it's a rather ambitiously complex project and hard to get into a single shot due to the fact that it's 6 feet in length. And joining me today on this journey of this tour will be my old school crude chakra map, as well as one drafted right before this video that's still crude but will do the job for descriptive purposes. Anyhow, let's get into it. So obviously the light staff is a rather large construct that's rather ambitious and has a lot going on for it. So I'll keep it simple by discussing the primary blade band scaffolding seen all the way through here, even down to here. And where this shall start will be the transmutation blade band scaffolding. So this first little band seen right here is a combination of hematite, smoky quartz, and pyrite to have hematite be a strong grounder of all excess energy through the root chakra into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. Then smoky quartz works as a fantastic transmutation agent to purify negativity into positivity by constantly grounding the arc into the earth for reprocessing. And pyrite serves as a more masculine yang variety of hematite in a iron-based cousin format, which is very nice for the closed loop circuit to have more of a projection that can be strongly stimulated to the solar plexus chakra. So that'd be just the first lateral band. And from here, there's an unbroken containment band all the way down here to this lateral band down there, consisting of an exotic rendition of the transmutation ratio seen on both this side and this side, on both the brass and silver for the intake output of exact same ignition order that will run most of the length of the staff as actually a pretty pivotal important part of the vibratory ignition sequence. So starting right here, just like mentioned, smoky quartz to purify and ground all the excess energy, hematite to once again be iron-based to ground all the excess energy to root into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing, particularly through the earth stars chakras. Then, to make it a little more exotic, there's actually a subcapacitation of rutilated quartz. Rutilated quartz, of course, is a quartz variety with bands of rutile, which is a titanium oxide that serves as a tremendous supercharger of whatever frequency is running through it. So obviously the ignition sequence of the rutilated quartz making a super acceleration between the hematite and the smoky quartz makes a very strong neutral acceleration of this entire transmutation blade band ratio, which runs the length of the staff to intensify the entire compound interest of the entire structure, particularly through the grounded modality of being the longest blade band of the staff to intensify and ground all the excess energy. Gotta get creative with moving it around. Going down here, grounding all the way into this lateral band of, once again, the exotic transmutation ratio, consisting of pyrite, smoke quartz, and hematite, running laterally like so. Then this basically discharge band is designed, of course, to have the staff be grounded into the earth and is actually perfectly flush with the core, so it does not put strain on the wire, consisting of pyrite, once again, the masculine variant cousin to hematite, for the more directional yang projection of energy, in conjunction with smoky quartz, once again, then hematite to make a very strong grounding capacity when engaged on the ground as intended. And since I'm down here, once again, I'll kind of do a showcase of exactly the intentional design of having the conducting wire run like so, perfectly flush with the base, so that the strain of when the staff is being wielded, of course, in its intentional format of actually grounding into the earth, is perfectly flush right here to not provide strain to the conducting wire of 20 gauge brass. That is very dense, strong wire, but still, I anticipate this to have a lot of utilization as an ally to the recipient. So naturally, with this perfectly flush displacement band, this will take the excess energy of the entire construct and run it into a consistent current pitch into the earth meridian matrix. That at least is the intentional design there. And since I'm down here, because this will be a lot to describe, to particularly get all the way back down here to the discharge band, I guess you could call it, is seen here and here are both black kyanite. So there's many aspects described by the blade face up top with the kyanite spectrums, but I'll go ahead and get into this because this is rather pivotal and critical, particularly as a foundational contingency for such an ambitiously high vibratory project to have a very potent grounding element. So black kyanite serves very well to rapidly bridge all energies through the entire chakra column, particularly through the Earth stars into the Earth very rapidly in a very autodynamic reactive fashion, which is, in my humble opinion, irreplaceable mineral kingdom to have the constant flux serving much like a surge protector to always take the excess overture of energy and give it a consistent bridging displacement into the Earth for reprocessing, which is also a safety feature for such an obviously intensively ambitious project, which will make sense as I continue this video, and to also serve as a way to make the magic real. So that's the aspect too why the discussion of the transmutation ratio was critical as a preface to really describe the comprehensive design focus of being a grounding foundational scaffolding for the entirety of the construct to always the primary longest blade bands to, of course, ground into Mother Earth, pull all stray energies through the root into the Earth stars, into the Earth marine matrix for processing to make it, of course, a very functional, safe, as well as make it very comfortable with all the excessive vibratory G's this should produce based on the composition in theory, just throwing it out there as a not an absolute, I guess. And 3, to make the magic real of this abundance construct to ensure the grounding of this entirety of this ambitious project actually lands into the Earth to have tangibility. That is the prerogative here. I think that's enough of a dissertation on the transmutation blade band, which, like I said 5 times now, is the largest unbroken containment field to, of course, ground and also intensify the entirety of the quartz through the structure, which is a very neutral ambient, which of course is an aspect also of channeling energy through the structure being consciousness-assisted technology in that capacity. And also, while I'm at it, the core, of course, actually is oak, and I was very, very fortunate all the way about probably maybe a quarter mile that way on the lovely property I live on to find a straight oak core, which, of course, is a very dense atomical structure and a very sturdy, strong wood. So atomically speaking, oak is a very strong, dense frequency, and luckily, physically, it's a very hard wood that'd be hard-pressed to break under strain, which makes it ideal core for longevity of a ambitious light staff of this nature to never have a break. That's a nice little feature. Okay, so we'll be flipping it all the way around over here. And since I have it up, kind of to really show the aspect of the containment band down here to ground into the Earth, perfectly flush. That's, of course, its design designation of wielding, to be much like so. And actually, before I go any further, since I was down there, I might as well describe the elemental lateral bands. Obviously, keeping this linear concise with such an ambitiously large project to notarize, obviously maintains a little bit of discipline required. Anyhow, so matching up there where the thumb engagement and trigger are is exactly the same ignition order, but this is actually on the brass polarity to be the projective yang, so to speak, of the elemental composition. So this guy's on the brass, and what by the thumb engagement is exactly the same ignition order of the lateral bands on silver for the maximum intake receptive point. Okay, so the first lateral band consisting of red jasper, being a fantastic stabilizer of the root chakra of the earth band, root-related quartz to work as a neutral accelerating subcapacitator to the entire rays. So root-related quartz between each of the elemental spectrums obviously gives it a supercharged intensification of these lateral diffusion currents that are grounded into the primary wire that, of course, will run through the circuit of the figure 8 to run laterally from the elemental spectrums to be work as full diffusers of earth, fire, water, wind, and love. Anyhow, pardon my digression, back to red jasper. red jasper is a fantastic stabilizer, earth elemental frequency. Rutilated quartz, then red garnet, another red ray stone of notoriety of root chakra earth elemental composition. Rutilated quartz, then the famous and legendary ruby, the unsurpassed red ray stimulant mineral kingdom. So that'd be the earth band. Then fire would be carnelian. Carnelian's a classic fire elemental stone utilized in ancient Egypt as an homage to Horus, stimulating the base, sacrum, and solar plexus. Very nice lower 3 stimulant. Rutilated quartz into sunstone. Sunstone's a very beneficent sunny frequency of potassium feldspar-based, actually a feldspar-based aspect of stimulating the solar plexus and the sacrum in a very fun, funny too, solar disposition. Then rutilated quartz then to tiger's eye. Tiger's eye is fantastic for aligning the solar plexus, the sacrum, and the base chakra in a very impactful fashion. So it takes the lower 3 and aligns it very nicely for full dynamic balance. Tremendously amazing stone for that purpose of balance and equilibrium. Then water would be blue lace agate to stabilize the 5th chakra. Then rutilated quartz, then aquamarine, cardinal water elemental frequency of the 4th and 5th chakra. It is also a beryl family, which means it's a cousin to emerald, which is a heavy concentration of this device, but that's, of course, an impeccable 4th and 5th, speaking from the heart, stimulant. Then rutilated quartz, then into emerald once again, the king of the green ray receptive abundance frequencies in royal antiquity and notoriety, which will be further discussed in the primary blade band, all the way up there. Then wind would be the classic lapis lazuli, a stone that is quite famous, a favorite of millions for thousands of years, and another stone of antiquity of great notoriety. Rutilated quartz, then the amazing amethyst. Amethyst, of course, an amazing crown chakra stimulant, as well as, lapis was also a 5th and 6th chakra wind elemental stimulant. Then rutilated quartz, then the lovely, legendary, and precious stone, blue sapphire, to be an impeccable wind 5th and 6th stimulant as well. So the aspect of sapphire also is the cousin to ruby, but based on the blue ray polarity with the red ray. So of course, the imperfect antithesis of ruby would be blue sapphire for a consistent blue ray, oxygen induction, as well as hydrogen induction of red ray of ruby and sapphire. So that would be the entire elemental spectrum of the 4 terrestrial elements. Then this aspect's quite important too, to have the love frequency be of high dominance, which is the whole reason for the season. Right here is the classic amazing rose quartz, an impeccable high heart for stimulant, pink ray obviously. Rutilated quartz going into morganite. Morganite is a lesser known cousin to both emerald and aquamarine, being in the beryl family, but of a pink ray frequency notarization. So I'm sure that if this was discovered and utilized by the kings and queens of antiquity, this would be another precious stone with great notoriety, such as aquamarine, emerald, ruby, and blue sapphire. But it was discovered more recently, but still has a very atomically potent, about 8.5 out of 10, the hardness scale of the pink ray, being the perhaps the most atomically dense and vibratory oscillation of the pink ray mineral kingdom. So morganite is an incredibly powerful variation of what they call pink emerald, a love frequency abundance generator. Then rutilated quartz going into the lovely kunzite. Kunzite is a very lovely pink ray, soothing lithium-based, calming divine love resonance. So it's a very fantastic love shine ratio is what I refer to this as. And so that would be just the elemental bands running laterally down here, which are identical on the silver ignition up by the thumb engagement, which we're going to take the journey all the way up there right now. Okay, so getting right in, like I just mentioned, the exact ignition sequence of the elemental lateral diffuser bands are seen here as earth, fire, water, wind, and love. But like I mentioned, this would be on the silver polarity opposed to the brass described earlier, to be the intake of the exact elemental spectrum, to have that energy being received, while this would be, of course, the output, which is naturally closer to the earth for discharging purposes. Okay, so this part can be rather ambitious, but I'm going to go ahead and discuss the primary blade band scaffolding before I get back to these exotic variables that make up the composition. Alright, so the whole reason for this season, once again, of this construct being named abundance is that it has the engagement of the abundance ratio, and obviously the most ambitious variation of the abundance platform to ever pass through my hands into creation. So, starting off down here, underneath all these goodies, for the primary blade band sake description, would be 12 small clear quartz going all the way up to these larger 8, which of course 8 is the quintessential number of abundance, and 12 is the archetypal aspect of divine order. Going from 12 into 8 right here, so clear quartz also works as a fantastic neutral acceleration of whatever current's running through it. So that's why it's been placed on both sides to ground back into this primary transmutation band of the scaffolding to, of course, perpetuate figure 8 momentum throughout the entire structure. And the clear quartz, of course, will make a very fantastic neutral acceleration going into golden healer quartz. Golden healer quartz is an incredible gold-white light Christ frequency higher heart stimulant that is truly a great connection frequency to the source of creation emanation. So that makes a very fantastic subcapacitation agent for the abundance ratio. And starting into the abundance ratio would be the lovely peridot. Peridot is an incredible 4th and 3rd chakra stimulant, earth elemental, great vibrational positive generator of abundance, as well as being a lovely kind of analog frequency of chlorophyll, that energy of growth. So that is a classic stone of abundance in that regard too, to stimulate the aspects of growth and all aspects of blessing to one's endeavor, particularly towards abundance in all its many facets. Then, right here, clear quartz to work as a neutral subcapacitator into emerald. Emerald is the green ray king and queen of the mineral kingdom, based on notoriety of human utilization. So obviously that's a true precious stone that has a great amount of notoriety as a stone of abundance. So the belief in this particular frequency being famous, and literally everybody's heard of emerald in the world just about, because it's a household name based on its great notoriety in the morphic field, which means the aspect of the emanation of emerald has a great amount of faith behind it as a precious stone of abundance, which gives it a tremendous amount of power based on the concept of, in reality, all of us being humans, we all agree about certain things, such as a red light means stop and a green light means go. These concepts of faith in the morphic field of humanity have very great power. So that's why this has such a powerful connotation in the macro scale. I know that's a bit rabbit hole-y and a bit far out, but it's just kind of part of the complex comprehension of why the abundance ratio has such a potent vibratory output, particularly in this field of heart receptivity of true nature of abundance. Anyway, then once again, just like mentioned, goes into golden healer quartz, gold white light subcapacitation, into peridot, once again, then clear quartz, and so on, until the blade band reconnects down here to this 8 and 12 clear quartz segment. So that would be just the entirety of the blade bands, including the lateral bands described thus far, of the primary scaffolding of all the energy running through a closed-loop containment circuit, and basically a figure 8 of infinite potential momentum recirculating. Okay, so now this part is going to be quite lengthy to describe in detail because there's a lot of little cherries on top of this cake right here. So I'll go ahead and discuss more of the primary center aspects of the device. And also, as a quick preface, anything described on one side of the blade face is identical and symmetrical as possible on the other side for balanced, even continuity. Okay, so I'll go ahead and discuss, I guess you could say the primary heart of this being would be a golden Lemurian quartz. A lovely variety of the Lemurian quartz works as a fantastic neutral heart program carrier of this entire design, which will work great in tandem in resonance, obviously, with the recipient to be, of course, engaged and resonated with to be running in tandem with their auric field as, once again, consciousness-assisted technology in its basic. So that'd be like the lovely main heart, the Lemurian golden quartz. Very fantastic, amazing frequency that is quite incredible. But I won't tarry long because there's so much to discuss. Then right here is a very, very critical component actually for the full regulation and comfort, and also the, I guess, the efficiency of this platform would be this lovely celestial smoky quartz. Smoky quartz, like mentioned many times now in the transmutation ratio, is a fantastic grounder of negativity into positivity by transmuting energy into negativity into positivity by grounding into the earth for two-way reprocessing. Much like the etheric Teflon concept, actually, that's the, I kind of omitted that part about the entire transmutation blade band. Seen all the way down there is that it can work like etheric Teflon to take negativity at incoming and then not let it resonate, discharge, and constantly reprocess in a two-way transmutation cycle. Okay. So back to the smoky quartz, and why this is very special is the format of Celestial plays a critical role in virtually all lightblade wands to be a powerful auto-regulator based on higher self template resonance. So what that means is that this particular structure has a certain way of attuning to one's template, the higher self, and working as an auto-regulation safety regulator also, but also a very powerful way to make resonant comfort based on the higher self template of whoever is wielding this device, which also makes it very auto-reactive to whoever actually engages this construct. So obviously the primary recipient who commissioned this monster piece will be naturally like the most dominant resonant aligner, but the beauty of this celestial quartz is that it will work to auto-regulate the frequency pitch to whoever is engaging the construct and basically calibrate the entire vibratory output of the device to their higher self blueprint dharmic template, which is a very nifty, cool thing about this in a closed loop circuit that is virtually irreplaceable, as is important as just about the selenite, the kyanites, and all the integral structures that make a light tech device at this point. So that's a lovely piece of smoky celestial quartz that is an absolute staple for many tier purposes, as well as it serves as another surge protector. So it also makes sure the vibratory pitch of a closed loop circuit is in an optimum with the calibration of the auric field to ensure that the amount of right of frequency is going through in a very situationally reactive tongue twister myself, vibrationally reactive situation to, of course, ensure the highest good of the highest self of the wielder in any given moment. So it makes a very dynamic, reactive auto-calibration feature that is truly, I'll say, quite miraculous, actually, in the capacity. Okay, so that'd be the main hearts discussed. Now we're going to get into the trigger, the thumb engagement, and then we're going to take the tour of the blade facing, the focalizers, and the purpose of the selenite as a crescendo. As well as there's a bunch of goodies over here at the apex band, as well as between the core, the selenite, there actually is very special components down here, but that is a future us problem. So, right here, I've been meaning to talk about this for a while now, because actually it is a little bit of a surprise to the recipient that has been somehow maintained through lots of discipline and sheer effort and the grace of God. Right here is a very, 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 very special component. Try and get, come on, behave, abundance. Come on, straighten out for me, buddy. Come on, come on. Jeez. Okay, I'll have to do. I need my hands free for this because it'll be quite the descriptive purpose right here for both my hands. So, without further ado, this primary thumb engagement, of course, obviously is designed to place the thumb as comfortably as possible in this very complex power pack subroutine seen here that will be described right now. As the heart of the thumb engagement, a very, very special crystalline ally of an impeccable moldavite seen right here that obviously by my thumb size can be obvious to see that it's a very large specimen. And it's a very high grade variety that would technically be a gem museum quality grade and has a very special story attached to it. So I received this from a Czech Republic native who was from the near area of Mlado Plateau as a token of gratitude or request reward for a very prominent Excalibur class master blade I crafted for her and sent to her where she lives in Canada now as a very powerful token of her gratitude, she sent me this amazing moldavite specimen that actually is quite large. This video doesn't do justice, but also it's the color and the formation that makes it a very precious variety of moldavite. So anybody who's a crystal enthusiast knows the beauty and impactful nature of moldavite, being a stone of the Holy Grail, being the perhaps one of the most aggressive storm elemental heart chakra stimulants in the mineral kingdom, to really whiplash somebody into the highest dharmic template, which of course moldavite has had a great amount of notoriety in this age, as well as infamy attached to it by destroying one's life, so to speak, because it simply works on triple time to destroy outmodeled highest truth spiritual patterns internally, externally, as well as it makes such a rapid synchronization of one's highest self that the false self gets rapidly destroyed. But luckily, as a contingency, like described in these videos many times, there's many different aspects of stabilizers, transmuters, and buffers, and of all kinds, to do the absolute best possible to mitigate the timeline whiplash that's associated with moldavite. That is quite dramatic and quite drastic. It's basically a cosmic kick in the pants hurricane force, put one in touch with their Holy Grail, highest true incarnation nature, that is very destructive to the false self matrices in all capacities that are not simply of your highest dharmic blueprint, that rapidly dismantles aspects of limiting beliefs, outmodeled patterns, and divisitory constructs within the self very rapidly. So that's a very powerful frequency. So obviously, this amazing ally I've had in my custody since April, and I knew it had a very special destiny, and of course the time has come for this guy to be incorporated in a very heart-centered, powerful abundance frequency generator that's quite ambitious, obviously. So that'd be just a special story about that amazing moldavite that was a love donation to serve me very well on the path, but now, of course, it has its own destiny. Now I get the privilege of putting this as a very opulent, very powerful primary thumb engagement in the service of a great wielder who is going to do great things in creation. At least that's my highest assessment. And it's a true privilege to be able to have had this amazing ally in my custody for as long as I've had it, to let it go off to fulfill great things as part of a bigger whole of many different organs in a conscious entity that's technically looks like an energy tool. I guess. Anyway, that's enough digression there. But yes, that's the moldavite. So above the moldavite, inside this power pack scene right here, is the lovely legendary Herkimer diamond, which is a fantastic stone from Herkimer, New York. That's a very powerful, clear, spiritual, higher crown chakra activator. That is a tremendous also amplification agent to whatever frequencies are next to you as well. So naturally in the moldavite with the Herkimer diamond makes a tremendous amplification of this entire frequency. Then right here to the left of it is the lovely, legendary, and very potent phenakite. Phenakite actually is a beryl family cousin of emerald, but it's a clear ray, a rather aggressive third eye opener that is so powerful in this mineral, in this composition, or just in the mineral kingdom in general, that it is like the divine solid white light of creation solidified. And so the consequences of this is probably also one of the top 3 third eye activators in the mineral kingdom that will just be hurricane force third eye activation blast open, of course. Now, in conjunction with the moldavite, the Herkimer diamond, and the phenakite, makes a very powerful higher frequency dynamic range. So phenakite also broadens the entire chakra column to its optimum configuration in a very aggressive fashion that is very, very powerful light of creation, divine light solidified. And to get the most out of that contained circuit of this trinity of this intensive thumb engagement would be a containment band consisting of cinnabar, which is a very powerful archetypal sorcery frequency emanation right there, which stimulates the root, sacrum, third eye, and a very powerful agent of alchemy, being a mercury-based mineral, which is a very powerful shifter of reality into like the highest nature. So naturally, having a little bit of cinnabar here with such dramatic, intensive alchemical accelerants goes a long way. Then rutilated quartz to work as a supercharged acceleration for the sum engagement power pack. Into the lovely famous turquoise. Turquoise is one of those stones like lapis lazuli right here that are the favorites of millions for thousands of years for a good reason. Turquoise obviously is a very beautiful stone to look at, as well as being a very powerful fifth chakra stimulant that embodies earth, fire, water, and wind, thereby containing the energies of wholeness, particularly through the fifth chakra focus, which has a very advantageous disposition to keep one in one's highest truth in ease and grace. Then rutilated quartz into, once again, lapis lazuli, like mentioned in the wind band, as a very powerful 5th and 6th chakra wind stimulant of one's highest dharmic truth, which will be very helpful in the containment of such raw radial frequency to have the focus hit the 5th chakra to keep one, when wielding of course, when it's just ambient and passive in the reality, to keep the truth of who and what they are in creation as a consistent, and that's the intention there. Then rutilated quartz into the lovely white-blue hemimorphite. White-blue hemimorphite is incredible stuff. It's a very criminally underrated frequency to be utilized in the mineral kingdom as a very powerful 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. I just made this right before this video, so obviously it needs a little bit more editing. 8th chakra. And I'll do like the Earth Star too right here kind of thing. Here we go, just for fun. So the non-physical soul star is a very powerful aspect of the containment to be the gateway to the rest of the higher chakras towards the higher self blueprint, or the Godhead, or the highest self, making a two-way conscious integration. And so the aspect of this heart-mind coherence impeccability is impeccable for all aspects of psychic gifts, mediumship, channeling, you name it. This is an aspect that's critical for maintaining the impeccable heart-mind coherence in connection to creation. So the guidance gets very clear, very clean, and also serves as a fantastic emanation to basically bypass the nature of mental gymnastics that can block the natural flow of one's connection to creation and like their higher self, to have that streamlined 6th chakra with that higher elliptical heart-mind coherence resonance. So it's a fantastic stone for, like, I guess I laugh because mental gymnastics is a real thing, as we all know, in the path, so it's kind of fun. Anyway, so then that'd be just the blade band right here. So between this blade band right here, behind the primary blade band is a very special blade band of clear quartz to work as a neutral subcapacitator. Then going into diamond. So diamond is, of course, the most famous precious stone in the mineral kingdom, and actually for a pretty good reason. That is a carbon-based 10 out of 10 hardness, the hardness scale, running a circuit all the way around here, grounded into the primary thumb engagement, maintaining a circuit into the primary wire seen right there, to, of course, give that 10 out of 10 hardness, invincibility, frequency of high sovereign nature and royalty. Hence, this is the most precious stone in the mineral kingdom that literally everybody knows about. It doesn't matter who you are, you've heard of diamonds based on their extreme notoriety in humanity's history as being a true precious stone. So, that's great and all for the opulence feature, but the aspect of why diamond's so impressively critical in such a ambitious project, like I've mentioned 5 times now, is that it brings that intensity of the entire frequency of that invincible, full energetic pathway stimulation of 10 out of 10 hardness, carbon-based, full resonance that will basically bring invincibility to the entire auric field and particularly intensify and solidify the abundance ratio as a whole. Because this is pretty evident when I say this, but every single frequency mentioned thus far is grounded to a central primary wire to, of course, generate vibrational compound interest in a reactive main vein seen right here, so that all these guys ping together in harmony, in balance. So any frequency added to this very complex device will, of course, run through a whole resonance cycle as they all ping off each other and they all basically resonate together. That makes up the organs of the sentient being named abundance seen right here. Basically. So the diamonds, of course, play a very critical role in such an ambitious, opulent frequency of abundance to really dramatically intensify the entire overture of this very well-balanced, complex superconductor of a staff. Then, speaking of superconductors, above this engagement section right here is, seen here and here, Percelli bluestone. Percelli bluestone actually is exactly the stone utilized to make Stonehenge, which was probably for a very good reason, considering the fact that this stone's found 400 miles away from the site of Stonehenge. Before the historical notarization of using carts and wheels, those several ton blocks were somehow, by use of the force, utilized and moved 400 miles away, mind you, from the site where this stone comes from to make the megalithic structure of Stonehenge, and that's probably for a very good magical reason. For it comes to a piezoelectric dimensional gateway charge that Percelli bluestone is. So, that little aspect of Percelli bluestone seen here and here in great prominence obviously gives it a very powerful Druidic Stonehenge connotation of great notoriety of magical application from our ancestors that have been lost to the sands of time according to modern history. But, of course, they serve as very powerful superconductor pylon points. And the reason I mention that so much is because above this section right here of this legendary Moldavite is actually another Percelli bluestone seen in here with its own containment band. And so the Percelli bluestone above this entire thumb trajectory makes a very nice resonant pitch of the Percelli bluestone with primarily blue sapphire, clear quartz running in its own circuit seen right here to be a very excessive overture of one's highest truth in a royal fashion as a focus for the truth of the construct. Blue sapphire, like mentioned, the wind band is a very powerful 5th and 6th chakra stimulant and a stone of royalty and antiquity utilized by kings and queens for time since recorded history just about, for being the most powerful royal blue stone. So of course, having that intensive 5th and 6th chakra stimulant being a very powerful electromagnetic interference inhibitor that would actually, of course, distort one's highest truth from conscious awareness is a very heavy dose seen here for exactly this purpose. With the Stonehenge, of course, the truth of the whole magic of Stonehenge being on a very heavy, obvious potency. Then, above that right here is the lovely legendary Sugilite. Sugilite's an incredible purple ray frequency of a crown chakra stimulant connects to creation that is rather rare to find in this variety these days. So luckily, of course, many of these amazing allies seen here were through a lot of providence and beneficence and divine conspiracy, quite frankly, of these really fine specimens all entering the fold to be employed in this ambitious light staff name abundance that are very, very hard to find, actually. But they just kind of course, like abundance, came to me through the construction process. Now they're applied. That would be this Sugilite seen right here is a very lovely specimen. Very hard to find the more purple ones these days. Mostly they're black on the market. And so this is a very nice, lovely Michael the Archangel frequency emanation. Actually is very closely aligned to this emanation with Sugilite and has a very powerful protection, purification, or kind of like a analog violet flame of purification emanation seen right here, which is lovely crown chakra stimulant, which is very nice for this very fifth and third eye and crown stimulation section. So down here on the other side of the thumb engagement is a very nice little counterbalance of the engagement of a Libyan gold tektite seen right here as the central core of this power pack. Libyan gold tektite was a stone utilized in the pharaoh cast of ancient Egypt, and actually they would send out teams using the force, remote viewing basically, to find these caches to actually gather this stone. Then they'd carve it into scarab beetles and put on their power breastplates they wear as badge of their office back in the day. So it has a very powerful, mysterious cosmic connotation that I consider to be a golden ray cousin to Moldavite that's lesser known in the mineral kingdom. So Libyan gold tektite is a very powerful sacrum and solar plexus stimulant, as well as being a cardinal fire energy. It also has storm overtones that makes a full stimulation of the auric field from top to bottom very intensely, particularly through the solar plexus focus of manifestation, much like utilized by the god kings and god queens of old that were the pharaoh caste. Anyhow, so that'd be the core of a very powerful manifestation agent seen right here, which will technically be designed to be wielded with the index finger and the thumb working in tandem to close that circuit. And so obviously this is a heavy blue ray concentration over here for the higher fifth chakra oxygen induction, while this would be more of a hydrogen red ray root chakra induction to be the perfect antithesis, to have the containment band around this guy consisting of, once again, red jasper to stabilize the root chakra, clear quartz to be a neutral accelerant into the lovely legendary ruby. Ruby, the unsurpassed root chakra stimulation in the mineral kingdom, oftentimes a 9 out of 10 the hardness scale. Those two together make a very fantastic stabilized, stimulated root chakra, which will be very intrinsic for actually keeping it grounded and making this real even further, particularly when being wielded in its designation. Then down here is a lovely little faceted Herkimer diamond to be another lovely spiritual accelerant to this entire construct. Then inside the containment pack right here is nickel iron meteorite, which is oftentimes the mother stone of black tektites, which I'll get to eventually. But nickel iron meteorite is an incredible iron-based with nickel extraterrestrial meteorite, which is very neat. And so that gives a very powerful extraterrestrial grounded energy, which will, of course, serve very well for the whole grounded context. And then there is Prophecy Stone seen here and down here underneath the celestial smoky quartz. Prophecy Stone is a very mysterious, powerful frequency that was named Prophecy Stone based on the person who found this had a very huge prophetic vision that is found in locality to Libyan gold tektite. So it's quite the mysterious stone with the modern scientific jury still out on its composition and origin. But apparently there are traces of metal in this prophecy stone that is actually not on our periodic table, which means that it must have elements of space metal, which is very cool, which probably explains a lot of its very intensive, higher frequency crown, third eye chakra, eighth stimulation of being in the induction point of having prophetic visions. Probably a contributing factor. Hence the extraterrestrial nature of this. Also, it's unproven science too, but they may suspect that this may be the mother stone of Libyan gold tektite, just like obviously nickel iron meteorite being the mother stone of black tektite. When the tektites, of course, get formed, it's from the product of a meteorite vaporizing the sand, melting with high heat and pressure to make a glass, just like tektite. Just like tektite right here. So, put two together, that kind of almost makes sense. Anyhow, that's why, of course, it's very powerful space metal. It's very powerful prophetic visions. And anyhow, moving on. Okay, so that'd be the thumb engagements and the precise bluestone and the engine mentioned. So now, I guess I was talking about the tektite. I might as well get straight into that. Tektite is the product of these guys hitting the sand and actually vaporizing the sand, carrying that extraterrestrial jolt into a crystalline structure. So black tektite is a very powerful black ray, Earth star up chakra stimulant that is very potent and very powerful for a full light body activation, as well as vibrational threshold increase. An amazing staple in light tech as well for that purpose, because luckily it's a very ground up, intensive high frequency energizer, which is a very nice foundational frequency increase as a whole.